Hi everybody. We're basically going to walk through some of the updates that came out as of March 2017. There's a couple of changes that's been brought out in the system that can help you navigate through the system easier, that can help you take care of your office in a much better way. So we're going to basically go through it. Some of the modules that I've got updates come in is basically your front desk. Your changes come in your dispensary, your patient communication, the way how you check out. Your calendar has some cool updates come in. You also have some extra features added into your dashboard, so you can use them as well. I'm going to start out with a new feature that came in eVision. So as of now, the way how you would send out an email to a patient was you'd only be able to send out email if that email falls under your email template criteria in your configuration. So we didn't have an option of free typing an email and sending it out to a particular person. We needed a template, and only then we were able to send it out to patients. But now we have a feature called as a mail. You'll be able to see it on your dashboard. Towards the end of the dashboard, you have an option that says mail. If you click on that, you would be able to use this feature just like the way how you would use any of your other email services like Gmail, Yahoo, or Hotmail, or anything that might be. You'll now be able to compose emails, so you can just click on compose, and you can type the person that you're sending the email out to. So I'm going to type in my email ID, and you can go ahead and type in a subject, and you can go ahead and type in a message that you want to send out to a particular person. And the email ID that will be used to send out would be the email ID that is set as the default office email ID on eVisionCare system. You guys also can attach any sort of attachment that you want in the email. And once you guys have formed your email, you can click the send button at the bottom of the screen and just give it a moment, and the email will be sent out to that particular person. You also have a list of your inbox. So right now you don't have any unread messages, so that's the reason why it's showing you a 0 inbox. But you'll be able to see all the messages that came in to your office, and you'll be able to view it right from here. You can also use these filters as to from who it came, based on what the subject line was, or even between a particular date timeline. You can choose and see what are the emails that came in. You also have an option for seeing what are the sent emails that were sent out from the system. So now you can see the email that we just sent out to that particular person. You can also see if there was any delivery failures. So this is a really cool feature. You can now free type emails sent out to patients. You don't have to anymore just stick to your email template and use another email service to send out emails. That's one. Another change that basically we brought about is with your front desk. So there's a lot of changes that came about in the front desk. Basically, you're going to be seeing a couple of changes with regards to the way how you can send out text messages, the way how you can right away confirm, edit, create appointments on front desk. So things that can make you easy rather than go to different parts of the system. You'll be able to do multiple things with regards to a patient file right from your front desk. So I'm just going to pull out a file here so I can show you what we mean by that. So let's pull a test patient out. And basically now if you take a look into your front desk, pretty much everything remains the same, but I want to show you guys how you can search for a patient. Before in eVisionCare, you needed at least 3 characters to pull out a patient's name. Right now, we do not need it. You can even search with 1 single letter, 2 letters, 3 letters, whatever it might be. You can just search for patients using just their last names if you want. So you would just type in the last name, hit the enter button on your keyboard if you don't want to click on the go button. Or you can search using just the front, your first name, and then hit the enter button on the keyboard. You can also now search for patients using a combination. So if I'm trying to pull this patient called Cynthia Test out, I can just type in TE, and then I would hit the tab key on my keyboard to go to the next field, so you don't have to move your mouse and go to the next field. So tab it over to the next one, and then type SIN if that's what only I know. And then you would hit the go right there. So when you hit the go button right there, you'll be able to see all the patients that has that particular combination. So you would click on that and then pull out the correct patient. And even when you're actually inside the patient file, we have a couple of new features that came in. If you take a look, you have something called as text messaging directly from your front desk. So if you click on that button, you'll have a quick tiny little pop-up that pulls out with the patient's phone number and the message. So you can type in anything you want in there and then send it out to that particular patient. You can hit on the send text message button to send out a text message directly. So now you can free type text messages just like the way how you would free type emails within your system. You can also view any sort of email history that you probably might have with that, SMS history that you probably might have with that patient. So this is your SMS history that some time back that you probably must have sent it out. We also have an option now for something called as your predefined template. So if you click on the predefined template, you basically have 5 different options, 5 different templates that you can predefine and create it within the system, so that those 5 templates would be probably the ones that you are major going to be using all the time in your clinic. So you don't have to type it all the time. You just have to, if I want to use the first one that says, hey, this is your OD office, glasses ready for pickup, come ASAP. You can frame it in a much better way. You can just click on that and hit OK. So when you hit OK, the message just pulls out, so you don't have to type it. So we recommend you guys probably going ahead and creating a couple of templates so you don't have to type it all the time. But just a quick reminder though, when you type in messages, please make sure you keep it short and crisp. We don't want to type really long messages and send out, because sometimes some carriers do not accept it and the messages can end up getting split, or maybe just half of the message going out. So always keep in mind this is a method of sending out and communicating with your patient in case you want to communicate to them something really quick and fast. So always keep it short and crisp. So you have direct free type text messaging right from front desk. A couple of other things that's being added to your system is if you have an area code that most of your patients fall under, you can now go ahead and set that as your standard default area code. So in case when you come and there's a new patient and you want to go to your front desk to create a file for that patient, that area code will be defaulted. 226 is now the defaulted area code for this particular clinic. So you guys have an area code, you can set that up, and then just like the way before, you can set up your default city, your province, from where most of your patients come from. Coming back to the patient's file on front desk, you can now type in your occupation for the patient. You don't have to any more scroll down. You can just keep typing. So if I'm trying to look for teacher, I can just go ahead and type teacher. But one thing that you need to make sure is always choose the option from the drop down. So if you have teacher, you make sure you choose that option from the drop down. You would pull teacher from the drop down. You can do that same thing, the exact same thing for referral desk as well. You don't have to scroll now. You can just free type it and pull the one that closely resembles. If that option is not available, please go ahead and click the plus button, add button, go ahead and add that particular occupation that's new. You would hit save, and then so that's right there at the bottom, and then you can just double click it and pull that out, or use the drop down to pull it out. Now, we also have something called as your questionnaire history on your front desk. Now we keep track of every time the patient had come to the clinic and then access the questionnaire history. So if you go ahead and click on the questionnaire history button right there, you'll be able to see every time the patient had come to your clinic and had a check on the questionnaire or had the questionnaire updated. So you can just pull out different dates and then pull out the corresponding questionnaire by choosing the different available options from your left hand side on the history questionnaire window. Another feature that's being added right now to eVision is let's say a particular patient has a family link, and unfortunately if one of the family members in the family link passed away, or let's say is an inactive patient, the system automatically would take it out from the family link so that it does not anymore stay in the active patient family link grid. If you now go take a look into your appointment schedule, probably you guys might be noticing that you can now straight away book appointments from your front desk. So how is it different from calendar is in front desk when you try to create an appointment, you're basically giving the system, the computer, different options. You're saying, hey, you know what, let me try to find out if this doctor is available April 1st week for this particular appointment code. So you're giving different criteria to the system, and the system would give you a result back based on the test that the system ran. So it's not going to be view, but you're giving the different criteria and you're checking if it's available. And if the appointment is available, the system would give you different results back and you can pick it out. So that's the idea with your create appointment tab on your patient schedule. So what you would do for that, let's assume we're trying to look into somebody who's coming in the next week. Somebody wants to come in the week of the 7th. You would hit that week. You would choose what doctor, what appointment code, and it says it's a 15 minutes. And now the system would run a test to see if that doctor is available in that week. And then the remaining procedures remain the same. You can consult the patient and asking when the patient wants to come in, like would they want to come in on a Monday, a Tuesday, or a Saturday. So let's assume Saturday. You would double click and choose the Saturday option. And all the time slots on your left hand side of that window is where basically the doctor is available. So you can pick any of these time slots based on the patient's availability and the doctor's availability. So 9:45, and you have a patient appointment summary right there. You can put a note if you want to. And then you would go ahead and confirm that appointment if the patient's okay with it. And then we have the appointment confirmed right there. So that's a very quick and easy way to create appointments. We also have a feature called as create multiple appointments. This particular feature is going to be really useful for all our clients who has vision therapy in their clinics for booking multiple appointments at the same time for a single patient. So you would click on the create multiple appointment tab. You would give the doctor's name, and you choose the code while they're coming in. I'm just randomly going to choose something like that, and it's a 15-minute consult. You would choose how many bookings you want to make for that particular patient. So you're saying, hey, you know what, give me 5 appointments for this patient, and you're going to say repeat it when. So I'm saying every week, and you're going to choose first day of the appointment. So I want to do it like every Mondays, and you can choose the time when you want. You're trying to look for that appointment. So every Mondays around 3 p.m. give me 5 continuous appointments that I can book for this particular patient. So that's what you're telling the system, and you would hit run. And now the system is running a test, as you can see on the bottom, and the system is trying to see if it can book for us 5 different sessions on a Monday, 5 weekly basis at 3 p.m. So you can see that all of them are available because you see a tick mark next to it. If at all an appointment was not available, it would be shown as a cross mark, and at that point you can either use this calendar to change the date. So let's say, even in this case, let's say the patient says, hey, you know what, I won't be able to make it on the 20th. You can always just edit that single appointment. But if everything looks good, you can go ahead and hit the confirm multiple appointments button right there, and the patient's appointment will be confirmed, and the patient would have those 5 appointments created on the system. We also have a little bit different, we've brought a little bit of changes to your current appointments. You now would be able to see that you have options under the patient's current appointment. In the sense, you have something called as a view log. If you click on it, you'll be able to see the log of that particular appointment. You'll be able to see who created it, what time it was created at, if the email was sent yes or no, and stuff like that. You also have, now the status of this particular appointment is ready to send. So if you hit on that particular plus button, what it does is, let's say somebody calls in to confirm an appointment. Now you don't have to go to the patient communication, pull the patient's file, patient's name out, and then confirm it. You just have to go to the front desk. The patient's calling to confirm the appointment on the 11th of March. All you need to do is click on that add button right there. What it does is it changes the status from ready to send to pre-book confirmed. And you'll be able to see that the appointment was confirmed right there. So that plus sign is being taken off from there. And then you also have a button that's basically for modifying the appointment. For some reason, if you want to modify the appointment, you can hit the pencil button, and you can modify any information in there. You can also change your appointment by clicking on that button and then choosing another date if the patient wouldn't be able to make it. You also have the option of now deleting appointments right from there. So if somebody doesn't want to come in, you can cancel out appointments right from your front desk by choosing that cross option that basically says you're canceling that appointment. These are some of the changes that you would be able to see with respect to your appointments on the patient file itself. Before, we needed to go to your patient communication or your calendar to do these stuff, but now we have incorporated pretty much all those features right under your front desk. So all you need to do to go to access appointments or edit appointments or confirm appointments with regard to one particular patient is go to that patient's file on front desk. It makes it much easier for you guys. Another thing though, like a small change, which I think most of our test clinics loved, is your insurance button. Let's assume this patient now has got 3 insurances. Now you can select a particular insurance, right click it, and you can set it as primary if the patient has like multiple on the same insurance coverage. So you can set it as primary, and then that primary one will be highlighted in blue. So it just helps you understand what kind of insurance a patient has. These are some of the most important changes that's being brought about in the system. If you take a look into your routing mechanism for a particular day, we have a couple of changes that's brought about there as well. If you click on each patient, you would be able to see that there's a tiny pencil right there. So in case if you had an appointment button appointment note corresponding to this particular patient, you can click on that pencil and you can add or edit any particular appointment note. So you can see now when I highlight that patient's name, the test patient's name, you can see there's a note that says test. You want to edit it, again the same process, hit on the pencil button and you'll be able to edit that particular note. Now, before a patient arrives, you guys would have an option of changing the appointment before the patient arrives. So let me just go ahead to the calendar, and I'm going to just go ahead and book a patient on the calendar. Let's say myself. And then before I come to the clinic for the appointment, you guys would have the option of choosing my name, right clicking, and then you have an option called change appointments. And now in case if somebody can't make it or something of that sort, you can always go ahead and hit the change appointment. That is only before you set the patient as arrived. Change appointment, and then the same screen as before, you can go ahead, edit the appointment, like drop it down to a different doctor, change the appointment code, add a note, or even you can go ahead and change the appointment right from then and there. If somebody calls in and they say, hey, I don't think I'll be able to make it that day, can you move me tomorrow or something, you can always go ahead and choose that option of changing the appointment right from your routing mechanism, routing flow on your front desk. And after a patient has been set to arrived, or is in the clinic, you guys can always go ahead and edit your billing or the appointment type for why they are in the clinic. So after the patient is in the clinic, arrived status, after the arrived status, you can always go ahead and add or edit billing. You can just click that button, you can edit it, take it out, you can add new billings and stuff like that. So those are the 2-3 major changes that came about within your routing flow, or the way how you would manage patients on the routing mechanism on eVisionCare. You also have a couple of changes on your checking out screen, your checkout option. So let's try to check this patient out. When I click out the checkout option, now you can print out your future appointment for this patient. Let's say I'm going to book this patient based on when the doctor wants to see them. So then I'm going to book this patient for a particular day. Choose, and basically it's for the 12th of March 2018, 10 a.m. in the morning. I confirm that appointment, and now you guys have an option for printing your future appointment. So basically we don't have right now anything set up already, but then you can go ahead and print out any future appointments for this particular patient. So you can click that print future appointment option to print out the future appointments for that particular patient. And you also have an option for printing out today's prescription. If the patient had any sort of prescription, you can go out and print out that particular prescription for the patient. So we didn't have anything set up yet, but if they had, you can always go ahead and print it out. You also have directly an option of sending the prescription via email right then and there. If the patient has email set up in the patient's file, you guys can directly go ahead and send out RX directly from the checkout screen. So you need not now go back to your front desk and then print it, email it to them. You can directly do it at the checkout screen. These are some of the changes that you would be seeing with respect to routing and with respect to front desk. We're going to now go to your calendar. The calendar has a pretty cool feature that came in, especially for clinics that's got multiple doctors. And you guys, I know there are some clinics that basically were saying it's difficult for you guys to navigate through the calendars, especially when a patient calls in who's not really particular of who the doctor is. It's kind of difficult for you to like go through each one of these doctors and try to pick out the correct time. But now you have an option called the multi-doctor schedule. If you click on that and you do show all, it basically is a week view of all the doctors in the clinic at a particular time. So I'm going to hit the week show all kind of an idea. So now you'll be able to see what doctor is coming, what doctor is available at what time. So the white slots basically means the doctor is available, and if at all there was a booked appointment, it would have been in red color. So it's basically just giving you, this is the first one is Dr. Dan Vespa, second I think is a visual field, this is somebody else, DF. So every doctor would now have an initial that you can correlate to the doctor. So they'll have an initial setup, and you can see, okay, who's available on the 3rd at this particular time or something like that. Same idea, you can go ahead and navigate up and down on your calendar using your next week, the previous week options, and then it would show you if at all there's an availability. So somebody calls in and say, hey, I'm trying to look for an appointment on the 7th of March, and who's available. You can say, and they want to come in at 10 a.m. in the morning. You can say Dr. Dan's available, the doctor with the initial GE is available, and the doctor with the initial KP is available. And any booked appointment, like how I said before, will be in the red block, so you can book it. But anything that's in white would mean you guys can book it. So you can click right there, and then you would have your booking screen come up, so you can go ahead and book patients right from these slots right here. So you have a multiple doctor option now come in on your calendar. Now, another change that eVision has brought out right now is especially with regards to your EMR, only the admin or the doctor would be now able to save or make changes to the EMR. We have disabled the feature for any other staff other than the admin or the doctor to go ahead and change your EMR, edit or save it. So it's completely locked now. The staff would not be able to access the EMR part of it. We also have a pretty cool feature, I would say, in your dispensary. So let's say there was an order that was created today. If there's an order that's created today, and for some reason you guys catch that the order was an error and it was caught the same day, you have an option called as an undo. What basically it does is it undoes everything that you have done with respect to that order. So you now know you don't need to like go ahead and do the whole return process like how you used to do before. You can just click a tiny button that says undo, and it undoes everything. It undoes the order, it puts back the frame if you have taken it from your inventory. It tries to resolve any sort of payment that the patient made or was outstanding. So a quick little button called as an undo can help you. So I'm just going to show you how you can do that. Let's create an eyeglass order for today. The only catch though is that you need to recognize it. You need to catch the error that particular day itself, because if the day is over, then it can sometimes mess up with our books and accounting. So we do not let it happen. We do not let the undo feature be there after that particular day. So it has to be done in the same day that the order was created. I'm just going to do an any frame. Sorry, so invoice it out. We're going to invoice the order out, and then if you go to your order manager, you'll be able to see that this was the order that was created today. If you right click preview glass order, you'll be able to see an option that says undo this order. So just as one click, you'll be able to undo everything, every single thing that you did for this order. So when you undo it, you want to make sure that you put a note, a reason for why you're undoing it. So you would just go ahead and put a reason right there, and then hit undo this order. So it's basically going to remove the order, invoices. If you have like a purchase order to it attached with it, it's going to take all that out. So it's asking you if you want to continue. You say yes, and then the order has been completely taken off. As you can see, it's now no more available for you on your order manager. So it becomes very easy rather than going through the whole process of returning that particular order. Another one change that you would be seeing, which can make it much easier for you guys when you're doing your recalls, is let's go to patient communication. Especially for recalls, we have now added a new, a particular new feature on your recalls that basically says last communicated date. So when you communicate to your patient on your recalls, you would have an option right here under this column that basically says the last communicated date. So you know when was the last communication sent to the patient. So that's a new feature that's been added to your recall reminders. Even for your appointment reminders, we have the option of tracking the log of what was the conversation, or if there was a conversation between you guys and the patient. You can double click it and then you can see your reminder history. So you can see the voice message has been sent on what date and stuff like that. So that's a couple of changes that you would be able to see on your patient communication. You'll also notice that on your dashboard, when you try to play around with your tasks, you'll be able to see that there's a couple of changes that's been brought about to your task. Now we've taken off the note to staff as a mandatory field. So now it totally depends on you guys if you want to put a note to the staff and stuff. And then we also made the option for save and allow others to close the task. So you can, even if I'm setting a task for you, you'll be able to close it even though it's me who kind of created the task. When you try to go ahead and create task, you guys will be seeing the task has been made in a much better format right now, so it's more user friendly right now. You'll be able to see it once you guys use task on the new updated system. These are some of the basic changes that's been brought about in the system. Like how we always say, we're working on it to make it better. We always say we want to get a lot of suggestions from you guys. Feel free to send us any sort of suggestions, any sort of enhancements that you guys might have, and we will definitely review it, and if it's possible, we'll definitely put in the system for you guys. Let us know if any questions that you may have. You can always reach us at our help desk phone number. You can send us a ticket, or you can email us directly, and we'll be happy to help you guys. I hope this small video was helpful. Let us know again if any questions you may have. Thank you. Bye.